Boy, great headline. Do they have enough? Now, let's start with the Lakers. We talked about the first-round draft pick out of Tennessee, the big three-point shooting guy, Dalton Knecht. He had one game in preseason this past week. It's hard to ignore it. He scored 35 in one preseason game against the Suns. He scored 20 points in a row in that game.
Wow.
Hit 7 threes along the way. If Dalton Knecht can do that with some form of consistency for the Lakers, then I think that takes some of the workload offensively off Anthony Davis and LeBron James. The rest of the roster and the guys off the bench is pretty much intact. Knecht has to be a contributor and a difference maker every game. He's not going to score 35 points every game. But if he can hit the threes, and that's why they drafted him, then they might have a pretty decent team. If he can't, if he's a rookie who gets overwhelmed, and then everything falls on the shoulders of AD and King James, then you're dealing with the reality, okay, we have two superstars, but how long before they get hurt? Because those guys always get hurt. Bronny James, this is the epitome of stupidity. I'm sorry. Some of my friends in the media that work in LA, what the hell are you thinking, writing and covering? So Bronny in his final preseason game scores 17. Everybody, he scored 17. Lakers got beat by 58.
58?
By 58. They lost to the Phoenix Suns. Bronny got 17. And that's what they're writing about. 12th guy on the roster.
What the hell?
Legacy player.
It's a joke.
Goes 17. It's an interesting development, though. They just made a deal yesterday. Lakers signed a free agent guard from Xavier. His name is Quinn Oliveira. He scored 33 points in a game and a half, the final two exhibition games for the Lakers.
Hey.
Can stroke it outside. He's more dangerous than Bronny is offensively. Now, I don't think he's going to make the opening night roster. I think he winds up in the G League to start the season, but they saw a lot in scouting him. So Oliveira from Xavier gets signed at the last minute to a G League contract. In terms of the Clippers, their season's over. And their season has not even started as they move into the brand new Intuit Dome that Steve Ballmer financed right across the street from the Great Western Forum, the old Laker home. They're in their own building for the first time ever. And I don't see how they win. There is no Kawhi Leonard. He is now out indefinitely. They're not even going to entertain any comments about timeline and when he can play. Here's the big issue. So he broke down again in the playoffs last April. Didn't play at the end of the playoff season. Lakers got taken out. So he went through all the rehab from the end of April into August when he went to the Olympic training tryouts.
Mm-hmm.
Made the team. One practice, and he broke down again. Then he went through from August into September, into where we are in October, 3 different weight training programs to strengthen the knee, calm down the inflammation. He had another scope, I'm led to believe, for scar tissue. So that's another 2.5 months of medical protocols. He can't practice, and he can't play. I don't think he's ever going to play again. And if you don't have him, and Paul George's mailing address is now Philadelphia, you're opening the season with an aging James Harden and the center Zubac and Amir Coffey, who's going to replace Kawhi Leonard. Amir Coffey last seen sitting on the bench with Tyronn Lue most of the season. The season's over and the season hasn't even begun. So that's my impression of Lakers basketball. It's hard to say Knecht holds the key to the season, but if he can be what he was at Tennessee, hitting threes, I think it changes the whole persona of the Lakers offense. And Clippers basketball, there's no basketball to pay any attention to. And John Riley's response.
It's a sad for the Clippers. You know, it's the curse that's been following this team for decades. So I don't know. I mean, I feel bad for Ballmer too, open up that new building and he's going to have a crap team. As far as the Lakers are concerned, I mean, yeah, the Connect is interesting storyline. The people will be talking about Bronny and about LeBron and AD. The guy on the roster that I just don't really get is D'Angelo Russell.
Hot and cold personality.
Yeah. So wasn't he like the number 1 overall pick like a few years back? Or
wasn't number 1 overall, but he was in a high number 1s. Came out of Ohio State. He set a Laker record last year for threes. 3 points made. You know, I thought, okay, this guy has had a good statistical season. Lakers kind of fought their way into the playoffs. got to postseason and got benched. He was miserable
Yeah.
shooting threes.
Well, he opted in this year, right?
Yeah, pay me my $18 million, and they had to pay him because they signed him.
But I would imagine the Lakers were hoping he was going to opt out.
I think they were hoping a whole bunch of those guys would opt out, and they all opted back in for the payday.
Yeah. Well, I can't blame the players for going for the money, but D'Angelo Russell just always seems to be this
Enigma.
quagmire, enigma. Like, he's supposed to be good, but then he's not really good. And why is he starting? And why does he keep getting these big deals? I mean, I just don't get it.
There's an attitude there that doesn't live up to his standard on the court.
Yeah,
It kind of stuns
it's just
me.
not working. But I will say this: if you're hoping that Dalton Knecht is going to have a really good season, he's got the perfect head coach, JJ Redick. I mean, he was the 3-point, assassin from outside. Maybe he can work on Knecht and turn him into himself.
Well, they gave him the playbook. Guys who can shoot a lot of threes. What'd they do during preseason? I think they finished up 24% from the 3-point line.
No, that's not getting it done.
No, not right now.
No.
Well, they open on Tuesday night. There are no more preseason games. They play Minnesota Timberwolves on Tuesday to start the season. So only time will tell whether Knecht be the guy, but he may hold the season in his hands if he can hit threes on a game in, game out basis, because they need more consistent offense. They've not had that. Hey, this podcast